Nathan Benderson was a successful businessman while he was still a teenager growing up in Buffalo.
I got my start by buying the bottles from the breweries and selling them to the soft drink bottlers. And a lot of the banks or bankers thought that I was going over my head, and they expected me to fold up within a period of time and be gone.
But in 1950, Nate bought an old brewery facility. It wasn't long before he became known in Buffalo as the man who could take underperforming properties and turn them around. Benderson Development became a big name. In fact, Delaware Avenue in Buffalo became known as Benderson Avenue.
My dad was a visionary in business, in philanthropy, in life itself.
When I heard the story about him as a young kid picking up pop bottles and exchanging that for money, and then to see what him and his sons, now his grandsons, have built together is just incredible. And that's the American story.
They took on responsibility for a lot of things at a very young age. And sometimes somebody's just born that way.
He wasn't fascinated by real estate per se, in my opinion. He was just fascinated by business, how people got ahead, how people made money.
My father was very insightful. He would see things that no one else could. He was way ahead of his time.
From 1989 to the year that we moved our headquarters from Buffalo to Sarasota, our growth was meteoric.
Nate was focused, he was dedicated, and he was relentless in pursuing what he wanted.
Deals come and go. If there's a deal there to be made, you got to make sure you get it done, and get it done quickly or you're going to lose it. And Nate was always there to make sure you got it done.
He built our company from nothing and led by example.
I have an old saying that over the years, I've never made a bad deal. A few of them just turned bad. Initially, he just intimidated the hell out of me. Just scared me to death. He was very demanding, and but just such a hard worker.
He had hired a Harvard Law School graduate years earlier, and the first thing that the new hire did was to put up his diploma from Harvard in the office. And Nate walked in, and the first thing he told the attorney was to take that diploma down. That doesn't mean anything. This is the real world.
And he would come in and sit in the chair across my desk and say, "So what's going on?" And I would proceed to telling him some of the different discussions I had, whether it be with a Walmart or Target or wherever it was. And then he'd always come back with the proverbial, "What else?"
So if you were to take a snapshot back 35 years ago and say, "Hey, Terry, you're going to run the construction department for Benderson Development," you would giggle, right? And I think they saw something in me that I didn't actually see in myself at the time.
People that are part of our business are part of our family, and it is something that makes our business so good and so successful is the people that are part of it, and that's really come from my grandfather and my dad's skills and personality and ability to be so down to earth and caring about the people that work with them day in and day out.
My dad was keenly aware of the suffering of others. He set up many endowments. He loved the fact that it not only helped today, but the endowments were there to help forever.
There's a lot of people who make money. Nate was bigger than all of them because he made such a big deal out of philanthropy.
I enjoy giving, and I feel it's very important to give. And I feel that if you give, you get.
Nate had a lot of dogs in his life, you know? He liked dogs. Dogs made him feel better.
Yes, you are such a good boy. Yes, you are, and I love you.
When he was first approached by Honor in its fledgling form, they were looking for a few bucks. They didn't know who they were approaching. They didn't know, one, how much he loved dogs, and two, Nate's unique view of charitable support. Nate not only agreed to provide financial support far in excess of what the person who walked in and asked dreamed, but he gave more.
That's part of his legacy, the charitable institutions that he helped, and the family continues to help.
He also was a teacher, an amazing motivator and an incredible leader. He taught us all so much. We had an amusement park, Fun and Games Park. It was in Tonawanda, New York. And when I was 16, I was very, very close with my father. And I was 16, we were at the park, and my father let go of the manager. And he said, give everything to Randy. And there was an assistant manager that was older, but he said, give everything to Randy, he'll handle it. And wow, did I take that serious. During vacation from school, from the day we got out till the day it started again, I was at that park 18 hours a day. And built it into a nice park. There was a very special ticket taker there, and my wife Lori.
I mean, this family did not skip a generation. It went from Nate to Randy to Sean and Evan. I mean, just all brilliant people.
I love having the thought that my grandchildren are stepping forward and coming in.
His word was his bond, and if he shakes your hand, that's who he is. And that's been instilled through, I know my dad and his generation, myself and my brother and sister, my cousins and our generation, and something that is important to us as we pass on to future generations.
I'm standing here on the roof of the Finish Tower looking at University Town Center and what it's become. And this was my grandpa's vision. And when he first brought me here, it was nothing but dirt roads and cows. And to see what it has become is unbelievable. I'm just so very proud to be his grandson and get to continue his legacy with my family.
The vision for UTC started over 10 years ago. My dad, then at the young age of 85, came to one of our early morning meetings. He had one thing on his agenda. He thought that our community needed a premier shopping mall, and there was no better place than right here. Like usual, he was absolutely right.
1, 2, 3. Let's go shopping!
And now that the mall's been developed, we're developing around the mall itself, as well as up and down the 75 corridor, University Parkway.
Look at what we have today. We have all this retail at an interchange that's doing over $1 billion in sales a year.
Prior to me being on the commission, the park used to be called North Metro Park, and then was subsequently changed to Cooper Creek Park. And then Nate Benderson, the founder of Benderson Development Company, and his family contributed $1 million to Sarasota County, and the park was renamed Nathan Benderson Park.
And we didn't really know what the true vision of the park back in 2010 and back in 2009. But what we see now today is beyond, I think, everybody's expectation.
I think there's communities across the world that look at how you go from a borrow pit to a world-class venue and Olympic trials and international rowing events in a relatively short period of time is just amazing.
We've visited a lot of Finish Towers. There's really no other Finish Tower like this. It's in the world, I would say. It's really very special. When I'm here, I can't stop thinking of Grandpa. His favorite thing was bike riding and exercising. He would ride his bike from his house here 4 or 5 times a week, 10 miles a day. He had the vision that this could be a central park for North Sarasota. He'd be so thrilled with what it's become. All the people here, all the bike riders, rowing, everyone exercising, running, all the activities. It's just what he wanted. He never saw a lot of the rowing events. He never saw it finished. Never saw the Finish Tower. He would love it all. He would be so proud of everything that took place. He's so happy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2020 GCBX Lifetime Achievement Award is presented to Nathan Benderson, the late founder of Benderson Development.